As a group practice, you may have the need for what therapy appointment refers to as a triage account. Group practices often have a need to temporarily assign a new or prospective client to the practice because they've not yet determined which of their providers is going to be able to meet the needs of the client yet. There are several uses for a triage account in a practice, so let's go through a list of scenarios so that you can assess if it would be helpful for you. First, you're a group practice. Then, if your practice has a waiting list of clients who would like to see a next available therapist, or your practice needs to temporarily park a new or prospective client until they determine which provider has the skill set and availability to meet the needs of the client. And last, that your practice would like a place on their website for a prospective client to register as an option to calling you on the phone, which ties up your staff. This can also allow an active client to log into their patient portal. Now, due to the nature of a triage account, this type of account will not schedule or treat clients. It's simply a holding area for a newly registered client's profile to reside until they're assigned to a treating provider within the group. So let me give you some case examples of how a triage account can be used. In the first and second examples I described before, when a phone call comes into your practice from someone needing a next available first session, but you don't quite know yet who's going to be a good fit for them, your admin staff or intake staff can go to the Plus New Client and select the name of the practice and go ahead and put in the client's information and even send a portal invitation so that you can get the client to do that part of the entry of their demographic or insurance information for you. You could even have them go ahead and complete and sign forms. Then you'll have their information entered into your practice and can assign them when you do know who has the availability. In the third example I gave you earlier, you may wish to have a place on your website where you can direct prospective clients to start the registration process. Here's a sample website. They have it connected to a button that says Ready for Change, register here, and then it's going to take them so that they can choose this registration button, or they could go ahead and even sign in if they're already registered. With either method, if a new client registers, you can get an email notification that someone's registered, and you'll be able to see the new client on your new client list. Here, it's assigned to Doe Counseling Consultants, or it's going to be on your intake wizard, okay, as assigned to your practice. So, if this feature is going to be helpful for you, let's learn how to set it up. So from an owner or manager role, go to Settings, and then select Staff. You're going to say Add Staff, and you're going to go ahead and enter in the name of the practice here. So you're going to enter it like this. First part of the name, and the last. Go ahead and enter an email address. Now this account can even be assigned to one of your admin staff to work directly in from their login to therapy appointment. So if that's the case, then put that staff member's login or email here and make sure you're choosing it as a therapist account. Now if this account is going to be used by a staff member who's an administrator, you could go ahead and even give them the administrative roles. Maybe they're also a manager or a scheduler or a biller for the practice. So go ahead and give this account the role that it needs. This account is not going to schedule or see clients. So what we can do with this account at Therapy Appointment is mark it as a free account for you. Just reach out to support at Therapy Appointment to ask how. Now that this account is on my staff list, I can click on it and go into this triage account settings. If this account is going to serve as a login for one of your administrative staff who handles scheduling or billing for the practice, then scroll down to this section under General Settings And you'll probably want to ensure that it can, get notices when someone registers, handles inquiries for the practices, handles billing inquiries for the practices if that's the case. Okay. Can always edit this at another time, but in my own practice, I find that this is the most helpful. And then under the client portal settings, if you want to connect the registration to your website for the prospective clients, then this is where you will identify that unique link so that when someone registers, it's assigned to the practice. And then I would assure a few other things here, such as what a client can view or provide in the client portal. Okay. And then editing the registration section here to allow public and invite-only registration, as well as what process you'll be requested as part of that registration. For example, if you're allowing clients to self-register from the website without calling first, do you really want to let them auto-assign forms until you know you're a good fit for your practice? I mean, that's just a thing you would have to consider as part of what makes a client legally assigned to the practice if you haven't triaged them yet. And then finally, be sure and set the online scheduling to off in this case, unless you are allowing like a prospective client to schedule a 15-minute phone call with like your admin staff. If you're doing that, in that case, it would not be a free account for you. So now, let's say you've identified which of your therapists the patient is going to be seeing. I want to show you how to assign this client to that therapist when that's determined. So let's go into that client. It happens to be this one right here. So you're going to go to the client, and then you're going to go to the Records tab. Over on the right, select Chart Sharing, or you're going to see it right here. And click on the name of the practice in this case, and then share with whatever therapist is going to be assigned to that client. Now, go to the client's profile and scroll down to where you see the clinical information, and then switch off the client from being new for the practice to being inactive. And now, if the one you set him for will be new, so that will show up as a new client on that therapist dashboard now. Okay. I appreciate you watching this video. If you need additional assistance, reach out to support@therapyappointment.com.